I repeat again, the senator from Kentucky is now working for Vladimir Putin.
Hey guys, welcome to the Silver Report. Here we are. It's Thursday, March 16th, 2017. We have gold currently trading at $1,229.30. We have silver trading at $17.44. And let's get right into some of the economic factors that will be playing a part into the price of precious metals, because we have some major things taking place in our country right now. And so what we're seeing, the mainstream media, they've essentially been ignoring this topic. They've been so focused on travel bans and whatever it takes to raise up the populace, to inflame the populace, whatever it takes, and just nothing about real news at all. Just whatever it takes to control the situation, control the masses. And so what we're seeing, our essentially bankrupt federal government is looming over. And so bankruptcy, the national debt is, of course, creeping towards $20 trillion. We've already discussed this in a previous video, but the United States' largest problem that we face. And now we're looking at the same difficulty again. The government was slated to shut down in 2015. It did in 2013. Congress was able to pass a delay on the debt ceiling decision until March 15th of this year. So today, recurring uncertainty caused by events like this has implications that extends far beyond our own borders. The amount of leverage in the current system has already forced foreign holders of U.S. debt to question the real value of America's full faith and credit. 2016, we saw that it was a record-breaking year for the liquidation of foreign-held U.S. bonds. It was topping out nearly $405 billion. The selling of U.S. foreign-held U.S. bonds, it was the greatest by China, and that's America's second biggest creditor. It currently holds over $1 trillion of U.S. debt, almost 28% of the total held by foreign central banks. They weren't alone, though. The United States, their number one lender is Japan, and they've rolled back their position to protect themselves as the reality of U.S. insolvency comes into focus. We just saw last week in a story that we covered that Japan was going through and they were auditing their private banks to make sure that they didn't have too much exposure to foreign markets, too much exposure to America in particular. So not only is their government backing out of U.S. bonds, but also they are instructing their own personal banks because they don't want to have a Lehman Brothers take place in their own country, of course. And so what we've seen, they've rolled back their position. The insolvency of the U.S., a gradual change has been set in motion. The global superpower status of the United States, it may be systematically eroded, not militarily, but economically. And somebody brought this up in the comments the other day, and they were discussing just this very fact, is that we will watch a slow erosion of the middle class. And I don't really see it as slow. It's taken place rather rapidly. What we've seen, if the government does shut down again, the Treasury Department, they have as little as $66 billion in reserves. That's just enough income from taxes to meet essential obligations. But for how long? They're spending $2 billion a month. You can't forget about entitlements like Social Security, Medicare, and if lawmakers can't collaborate and pass some kind of resolution, the power to allocate additional federal spending will largely be turned over to President Trump. I like the fact we had an initial hiring freeze on federal employees. And so that was just shortly after his inauguration. The president's, he went out and promised tax cuts. All these people are excited. They get their money into the markets. They see big news. But little do we notice that most of these gains have been in banks and financial institutions, as well as most of the appointees. Obamacare reform and increasing the military spending, it's going to intensify the economic situation in this country. The Affordable Care Act, its purpose was to make healthcare affordable. Not for the people, mind you. It was not for you. This law was not to make your healthcare affordable, but it was to make the ability for the failing healthcare system that was bankrupt already, that the money was gone and they had no ability to afford it. It was to make it more affordable for them, and also to pass along the buck to special interest groups so that 6 major insurance companies can come through and conquer the world of medical in the United States. As we saw all these mergers and acquisitions by these major monster insurance companies now. So the Democratic leaders, they've accused Trump with colluding with Russia. It's likely they'll refuse to compromise on the budget. And so what we're seeing, they really want to undermine the Republican agenda. They want to undermine President Trump. They want the chance to be able to go out and say, this collapses as a result of these principles. Who would have thought that lower taxes would be beneficial for the United States citizens? How could you oppress us in this way? Who would have thought unregulating some businesses was good? How can you oppress us? How can you stop our rights, our constitutional rights to immigrate illegally into this country? This is madness, and we know that this madness will carry on to the fact that they will not support any positive change that we need so desperately bad right now, as we face a very important day as the debt ceiling has now returned to the United States. That's right, we have not had one, now we do, along with no money. What are we going to do if the United States federal government files for bankruptcy? Your life will change in only a moment. All right, thank you guys for joining me here on the Silver Report. If you like the content, be sure to subscribe, like the videos, share the videos. I thank you guys all so much for stopping by. As always, stay safe.